Go with that. Got it. All right. Well, make sure that you all can see me as well too. Welcome everybody to the Summer Latinas Book Launch Celebration Business Women of Diversity Power Luncheon. I know, right? We here. My name is Vito Vigil. I am your host, and I am so grateful that all of you are here. We have folks that have traveled far and wide. I think that our furthest, we have Sacramento in the house, we have Bay Area, we have Jersey in the house, and then all over California. And then we will also be talking to all of our amazing authors and ladies who are joining us. Joe is in Boston. Doctora, at least I think you're in Puerto Rico, right? Yeah, you're in Puerto Rico. We will be speaking to every one of you in the house and in the virtual house today as well. So thank you so much for your patience as we got all of this going. Everyone was emailed the programs. And if you don't have a program, I only printed a small handful, but I will put one at a couple of the tables just to kind of give you an overview. The author profiles also is available on the website, and it will be emailed to you if it has not already been emailed to you. So the lay of the land is, so this will be our opening remark. Then we will speak to all of our Boss Latina authors. Oh, thank you, Joe. The book is on the website. We are battling with Amazon right now, and so as soon as it gets on Amazon, I'll let you know. It is fully complete, completely done. We'll talk more about that. We'll have a short break. Then our lunch is going to be catered by this amazing Cocina Jonathan Diosa Guerrera. We'll be here later to drop off our amazing lunch. We'll talk with our sponsors and our vendors. We'll have another break. And then Oksana is going to be doing a closing meditation. We will speak to her about the amazing work that she does. Then we have cake, coffee, and conversations, which is one of my most favorite parts of the program, where we all enjoy this massive chocolate cake and strawberries. And we go around the room and we really get to know everybody. Who are you? What is it that you do in life? What is it that you need or want? And what do you offer? So that before we all leave today, we can all be connected to someone that may have a resource that we may need. Then we'll have our closing remarks. I will try to be cognizant of the time, and then we will be ending at 2 to 2:30. So welcome to the Business Women of Diversity Summer Power Luncheon for Women Entrepreneurs, presented by the Empowerment Empire and sponsored by Rich Easter Magazine. We are all so excited that you are all here. So excited. Business Women of Diversity gather each quarter at Empowerment Empire business brunches and power luncheons, designed to celebrate our successes, build on our knowledge of business, improve our mental health and physical wellness, to continue building our empires, and to continue in our mission of collective collaboration, growing individually and as a community. The Empowerment Empire is always full of powerful women leaders sharing their expertise and insights, all just for you. Our summer theme is education, collaboration, and elevation. Elevate yourself by elevating your business. We are honored to have you join us. This is the 20th program. So I'm super excited about that. The 20th program, I did not realize until I was redoing the program, and I was changing the 19 to 20, and I thought, oh my gosh. So we'll get to that. So thank you for joining us in our 20th program, dedicated to strengthening your drive, to grow your business, to embrace your power by not giving up on your dreams, by taking action that is in sync with your long-term goals, your aspirations, and your personal journey to success. So the Empowerment Empire did not start off as the Empowerment Empire. It started off with me leaving a very abusive relationship, taking my daughter and skedaddling and figuring out what was next. After a number of years of really awesome therapy, everybody needs a therapist, and everyone needs really awesome coaches. So after a couple of years of working with therapists and working with coaches, I decided that I wanted to start my own business. So the way that I did that was, I was living in Sacramento, and I started joining all of these entrepreneur groups. And I thought to myself, what if I could get these amazing ladies to come into one space? I can cook. Let me feed them and give them a platform to tell their stories. And for the first several years, I did not come up and participate as a presenter of the program. For those several years, I sat down and I cooked and I moderated and I event managed. Because what I thought was, if I could get amazing women into a room and share their stories and talk about how they built their businesses, then maybe I could absorb some of that knowledge. And maybe I could start rubbing elbows with the type of a woman that I wanted to be. A business owner, a professional woman, someone who was, starting over. So many of our sisters go into business for themselves because they have to start over for one reason or another. So when I did that and I started to collaborate with these women, it caught on. So first it was a business brunch, and then we did a luncheon. I was like, I don't know if I would do a business luncheon. Let's do a power luncheon, because I was really feeling strong at that time. So then the power luncheon started. And so we would do business brunches and power lunches. And I just kept inviting women to speak. And then I started getting women reaching out to me to say, hey, you do this thing, can I speak at the table? And then I had companies coming to me to say, hey, we'd love to sponsor you. Like, do you need a sponsorship? And I thought, well, what does that mean exactly? And now we have sponsors, vendors, and great supporters. And we have migrated from Sacramento. We did some events in San Francisco area. I lived in Oakland for a while and did a couple events there. And now we are in Southern California, and we're doing events in San Diego. And it continues to grow. And it's a lot of hard work. And to me, the work of setting up all the tables, getting all the food situated, figuring out the Zoom room, figuring out everything that needs to be done, it's worth it. This is how I like to spend, one day, once a quarter. So out of the luncheons came stories, all of these stories. About 2 years ago, I was invited to join an anthology. And someone asked me to write out my whole story. And I did. And about 5,000 words later, I thought, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And I was really happy about it. I was the editor for the book that I participated in, The Empowered Women of Empower Hour. And Stephanie Mears, who is a phenomenal woman, started doing this book so that we could raise money for the Butterfly Element, which is a nonprofit organization that helps women and children needing to start over. Like this recurring themes I keep finding myself within. And when I did that anthology, it was just so phenomenal. It was really an amazing experience. It was an opportunity to connect and collaborate with other women that I had not collaborated with before. And as the editor of the book, I read thoroughly every single one of those stories. And the more I read these stories, the more I got into these women's lives, the more powerful it became to me. And when I started looking around myself, and I thought, there's not a lot of Latina women represented in this book. There was definitely, I think there was like 3 of us, maybe 4 of us. And I think it was a book of 12 total. And I like to go big or go home. So I was like, well, we're gonna do 50 ladies in this book. So we ended up with 30, which is still a phenomenal feat. So 30 women later, we have the Boss Latinas Anthology. And that was a lot of work. It's the biggest project I think I have ever wanted to do. I had no idea how challenging it would be. And one of the things that I wrote in the author's profile is this. And I wanted to read it. So about the Boss Latinas, the anthology. The 30 phenomenal women who have shared their stories come from various places of the globe and have come together to inspire you, to empower you, and to remind you that you too can choose the life you so seek. In 2020, a group of phenomenal women got together to talk about their stories of life and how they became the phenomenal professionals and business owners over a magnificent lunch and a small group of listeners. The event now, referred to as Power Luncheons, hosted by the Empowerment Empire, thanks to Viviana or Besa back there trying to sneak in. Thanks to Viviana, my organization was incorporated as the Empowerment Empire. Thanks to her, she helped me to come up with this name. She's like, you're building this empire of empowerment. And that's when I was like, that's what we need to call the company, is the Empowerment Empire. Sorry, I totally got me to call you out, but join us. Welcome. As Power Luncheons continued quarterly, as they regularly do, my inspiration grew, and so did the numbers of women expressing interest in participating in a book. Thus, Boss Latinas, the anthology, was born. Over the following 2 years, I invited and collaborated with as many Latinas in business as possible to now present to you the following 30 women sharing their experiences of life, struggle, hardships overcome, and hard work for success. The goal for Boss Latinas, the anthology, is to inspire and encourage our sisters today and our sisters of tomorrow to take hold of their dreams and to never give up on them. I like tattoos. And the one across here is in Latin, and it's Nuquam alieno vestri somnium, and it's never forget your dreams. And in my darkest of days, I went and got that tattoo. And so that every single morning when I was standing in the mirror, brushing my teeth or doing my makeup or whatever, I would see it over and over and over again because I needed that. I needed something in my face to remind me, yes, life gets hard and bad things happen to good people. And when it's the fan, you need some encouragement to get back up. So this special program, the author's profile, is intended to offer a glimpse of the phenomenal women who shared their life experiences, how you all have never forgotten your dreams, how you have inspired me to never forget my dreams. The experiences that we share, and I have read over all of your stories so many times, and Joe and I have read over your stories so many times, because I'm like, there is not going to be an I that's not dotted and a T that's not crossed. It was phenomenal. The experience of learning about who you are, what you do, how you've gotten to this point is powerful. So I want to thank you all for being here today. This Power Luncheon is very different from our regularly scheduled program, where we would typically have 4 speakers presenting on business topics. But today we're going to hear from our authors in the house. And so with that, let me go back to my schedule. I would like to welcome Joe Welch to introduce the women who are joining us via Zoom so that they can talk about, to introduce themselves and the experience of what it was like to write these stories and to participate in the Boss Latinas anthology. So Joe, I hand the mic over to you.
Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me in the room? Let's see a little shout out, little deaf applause, because we're looking to see everybody. All right. And while you are doing the applause, we have to take a moment and give some applause to Vigil and all of her hard work. When she said that she was on the COVID, laid out for COVID, she really was. And she makes me into some sort of taskmaster, but really all I said is, can I do something? Can I help out? And, and especially somebody who is so driven and has so much agency, and she wants to bring so much to everybody. It definitely was a joy for me to be able to participate in that way. So it is my honor to be able to be the co-host here virtually. I do come from Boston, near Boston, Massachusetts. I am a Latina, but I don't want to go first. I want to bring up my hermanas who are here. And I want to start with Doctora Elsie Aquino Gonzalez. May I invite you to the stage? And what that means is that I am going to do some technology and go ahead and add her alongside me. And I'm hoping that everyone can see. And with that, we'd love for you to just share your name and just something about, this is the same question for all of us here. What was this experience like to you? We're doing, we want to make sure that we are staying on time with everyone. So we are going to keep it a bit on the short side if we can. But with that, I want to go ahead and invite you to take off your mic and take.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Vigil. And thank you all my sisters here. It's like playing house. I feel like I'm playing dollhouse. And, I see everybody so dressed up and so happy. And it's such a great feeling because it's not usual that you have so many wonderful sisters around you. So I just want to thank everyone. And I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone and enjoying this event and participating and everything else. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Before you go on, so is that the experience you had here? Was that you feel like you were part of a family? What did you gather from, you may have written this story before, but was there something that came from your experience of writing your chapter for the book?
Well, it was a space, this gave me a space to be able to release a lot of the anger that I was carrying that I didn't really know. And, you kind of hide all those feelings because you have to continue. You have to show face, like we say in the street. You have to show face and show that you're going forward and that nothing's going to stop you. But this opportunity to
we're losing her.
Write my story gave me that space to be able to share Latinas, not to stop, not to bring your guard down, because, you're going to be confronted with a lot of things during your life. And that's good because those are the things that you have to learn and use them whenever you need them. So this was my experience writing my story. Thank you. And it was very healing, and I'm very.
Thank you so much for sharing. We did have a little bit of, you are there, and I think that we did capture your comments.
Joe?
Just so you know, because I know that it'll come back around, is that we did hear you. We did hear your comments. The break managed to keep you talking with a little bit of silence. So I'm not sure what's going on your end for technology, but if you end up coming off, you're always welcome to come right back onto our room. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and invite Heather Bravo Martinez to come to the stage. I'm going to add the spotlight.
Hi, good morning, everyone from Stockton, California. Hi. So I do have my dad right next to me. Always my backup, right? But, you know, writing the book meant so much to me. We carry such a strong heritage here in California, my family does. And, you know, very much of what I shared in my story is I was always downgraded for being such a light-skinned Latina, but also because my family didn't want us to speak Spanish. They felt like, you know, they were so discriminated for having the accent and speaking Spanish, yet we heard Mexican music, ranchero music every Sunday morning, tortillas, tamales, everything was made. But we lost so much of our culture because they didn't want us to learn that. And being biracial, Caucasian and Latina was very hard in the time I was growing up. And so being able to share that story of my insecurity being picked up on, of being heavy set as a child, even as a young lady, you know, and being downgraded for it and for not being that smart Latina who spoke Spanish and was viewed as intelligent on top of that really did affect me. And so writing this book, very much like everyone else, just really helped me get that message out there that I don't care if you're light complected, dark complected, if you're Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever we are, we all share that same pride of our heritage and we all connect some way. So meeting so many powerful Latina women, reading the stories, seeing the post, I can't even express how much I am grateful for this opportunity and to have the support of my family. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my great-grandfather walking up from Guanajuato up into the United States. So I am so very much grateful. I wish everyone the best. And I am so excited to have such powerful Latina women that I have met, sisters. You guys are like a familia now to me. And so I can't wait to see all the success for all of us and all of us to be able to connect and empower each other. So thank you so much to all of you and have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Heather. Again, we are just going to be hearing story after story. Kristen Quiroz Bayana, right? Did I get that right? They're going to correct me. Bayana is what it is. We're going to welcome her aboard. And please tell us who you are and what did the writing of this chapter mean?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm actually a podcast host, and I help women amplify their voices through starting a podcast. And what I talk about a lot is that everyone has a story, and all big stories matter, but so do small stories. And what this opportunity did for me was help me reflect on my own story and give voice to the things that I had been experiencing. And I loved having the opportunity to do that, to reflect, and then to think about how can this impact others? How can this impact the next generation of Latinas? And realizing like, oh, I have things that are relevant to other people and that they're going to identify with, and that's going to resonate with them in hopefully a deep way. So that's what this experience did for me. And I love being a part of the other 29 Latinas, you know, who are part of this this anthology. And I just wanted to thank Be Heal for the opportunity, and thank you, Joe, for all of your assistance as well.
Thank you so very much. And again, everyone who's listening, I'm new. I think I might be one of the newest people to the group. I'm going to let people know. Yvette, I'd love to bring you on next, and then Virginia. But just this reminder that we're all coming together from different parts of this world. We are creating a family, and possibly this, for some of us, this might be the first time that we are even speaking to each other. And so I cannot wait to see what happens next. So Yvette, welcome to the stage, and I'd love to give you your chance to introduce yourself, and also what did this experience?
Hola todas. This is so exciting. Just piggybacking on what my hermanas has said, I think for all of us, it's been a healing journey to be able to conceptualize our stories and put it in a chapter. You know, like I know from myself personally, it was, you know, we always look back, but it's so different when you put it in words and in writing and know that, like one of the ladies said, you know, it possibly for generations, you know, other Latinas that have gone through some of our same struggles collectively, maybe we'll never meet, but knowing that our shared experiences can help them in their journey has just been really, really meaningful to me and all of us, I think. My section focuses on, you know, going from survivor to thriver. And as, you know, we've pointed out, in some way we can all relate to that, of starting over and having those journey experiences. And so I love that there's so much depth to each and every single one of our stories. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to look in, you know, around the room. I know we're not there right now in person, but, you know, bring each other together down the road and get to know every single one of these ladies and see what God has planned for us. So muchísimas gracias for both of you, for the team, for putting this together and encouraging us, and all the late hours. I can't even imagine. But just thank you for all your work and making this come to fruition. It is truly just such a special project to be a part of. So, besos a todas.
Thank you so much. I mean, we have to agree that this is a moment in history. I'm going to go ahead and invite Virginia up to join us. I believe that is everybody in our room. Hola, let me get you into the spotlight.
Hola.
There we go. Welcome. Hola.
Hola.
Introduce yourself and share.
Sure. So I'm Virginia Dincita Veras. I am based in the Washington Metro, DC area in Maryland. I am from the Dominican Republic, and I came here as an adult to learn English. So I think I'm still in that process. That's why I'm staying here. And it was like that conversation that get me to that part. It was some kind of very refreshing in how for me to embrace, especially when you are in an environment like everybody either has been born here or very related or came here very young. So you feel sometimes that you don't belong. So when you start learning that you do belong where you are, it is really a relieving process for us. And the values that that you learn back in countries like the Dominican Republic, sometimes you don't see it here because of all the difficulty that we have there, and all the things that you have here that are more available. So learning that at very young age from my parents and living that, it's priceless. So I am really, really happy to be here, and I am really grateful for all the work that you've done. I mean, it is amazing all the love putting together for this and how to express the work. So, gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you. That is all the women, but it does leave me. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the virtual side. My name is Jeanette Ocampo Welch, but they call me Joe. My parents are, I'm a first gen, so that is a very big part of my story, is being first generation American, having parents from another country and being born here. And it does just echo back to all the things that each one of us said about how we fit in, do we belong, and where does that mindset that we grow up in? And for me, I feel like I've been looking for the rule book. I've been looking for the secret, like why do I not understand? And instead of thinking that I just need to learn how to understand, I just thought it was me who didn't. And that created that larger space. And so I manifested that, late in life. I'm 52. And so I just am developing my will fairy because it goes to that generational wealth. I'm developing coaching. And I think it's so much like my sisters here. And I know that we're only half of the equation, that there's another group of people in the room that are going to share with us. And so that passion, and then being able to meet Vigil and have an opportunity to literally make history here, because we can count the Latina bosses anthologies on one hand, right? How many are there out there? And so we are at the beginning of that. Our great-grandchildren, those families, you know, educational places are going to be able to look to them and go like, wow, what did we think at that moment in 2022? What was going on for us? And so we are that voice. And with that, it is just such an honor to go ahead and introduce I remember I am new to the picture here. Really, I am in service of everything that Vihil is doing. So I'm going to bring this back to the floor. Vihil, go ahead and take it away. I know you have amazing authors in the room as well, and we're going to stick it out and listen to all of them. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joe, for managing and being in our Zoom. Let me see if I can move the view over. There we go. So thank you so much for being over there and for everything that you do. And like my 25,000 texts that go back and forth with you. I am so truly grateful that we are business partners, that we are friends, that you are my assistant editor and my rebel rouser. When I was laid up in bed, really sick with COVID a little while ago, and I was like, I have so much work to do on my book. And Joe was like, get up. What do you need? Let's make a list and what do you need? And let's do it. And like, let's check off the boxes. So literally I'm laying in bed with my laptop on my lap, like reading and writing and editing and like stuff. And the author profiles document that Joe put together, oh, that was hard. Thank you so very much. So the plan for the author profiles is, yes, it's here, and there are several. Do you have a copy of your guys' table? Okay, cool. Because I have another one too. You guys want to have another one? So what I have done with the author profiles, I really, really, really wanted to make sure there was like a page in the book in front of your stories, so that we had your photo, your logos, your business information, your brief bios, website links, anything. So what we did is Joe helped to gather all this information, and then we both worked together on doing the formatting of it so that your profiles page would come before your actual story. And I'm really glad that we were able to do that, because it was something I felt that was very important. So where you can download the document through the website, and then I posted it all over social, and then your profile page is in the book, So I'm very excited about that. So I want to go now to the amazing authors that are in this room. You are totally going to be put on the spot, because I wanted to just say, I want to say thank you. Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for being willing to deal with me going, I couldn't open your document. Can you resend it to me for the 5th time? Thank you for all of that. Thank you for being willing to tell your stories. There's so much I want to say, and so many things I want to iterate to you, but I don't want to take away from this time. So I'm looking at Lucia, because you're the first chapter. So I'm going to hand the mic over to each of our authors that are in the room. My question to you is, take 30 seconds to share with us what your experience was like writing this chapter for you, and then what your hopes are that the chapter can do for our sisters now and for the future.
Thank you. My name is Ligia Gutierrez. And for me, it was really difficult to talk about myself. To try to think of a story that I could share with everyone. And so it was a moment where I had to look back and say, what was something that really made an impact for me? And it was the time when I immigrated to the United States, and the impact that it had on my mother and on my grandmother, who took care of me. I met my mom when I was 6, and when I was immigrating here. And so you can read the chapter, you can see about the story, but it was so impactful, and it made a difference for me on how I make decisions, and how when I'm feeling down, I have to get that mental strength. And that's what that chapter is about. So thank you for allowing me that opportunity to dig deep in myself, because I did not want to talk about myself.
Thank you. I wanted to also thank Lakia for coming and bringing her daughter from Sacramento. It's a really, really honor to have you both here. We've known each other for a number of years, and it's great to see someone from home. Okay, so we've got some ladies over here. Should we come to you next? And then I'm going to come to Amanda. Okay, we can stand over here. Oh, actually, if you could stand up so the folks on the screen can hear you. Introduce yourself, tell us what it was like to participate in the Boss Latinas Anthology and what it did for you and what you hope it will do for others.
Well, first of all, my name is Olga, and I want to thank you for reaching out to me. I was like, wow, that's all I can say. So my book, I was inspired to start to write my book about 5 years ago. And somebody I was asking me, like, what did you go through, in your life that, I had a really bad relationship with my ex-husband. And I would always joke actually about it. Like, I could write a book about it and I would laugh about it, because I actually did. Someone like really made me feel like I was worth, something, that I could voice myself, because it was really hard for me to voice my opinion, voice, what I wanted to say into the world, So that's what inspired me. And I look to inspire other women as well, and men, to do the same, just to voice yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you came and that we met in person. And absolutely. It's a great pleasure to also have one of our next authors who also, I want to make sure that you come over. She'll talk a little bit more about her work as one of our sponsors and one of our vendors here in collaboration with Five Point Credit Union as well.
I am going to ask from the virtual side that people please come to the center of the room. We do not want to miss your face. Some of us have never met you before, so I am going to ask folks to please come over and join us. Thank you. Ooh, great shoes. Fantastic.
Thank you, everyone. Marisol Tejada-Napi, born and raised in the Dominican Republic. I came to this country when I was 17 years old. I'm going to be 45 years old now in October. Writing a book to me has always been a dream. But then I said, I don't even know how the hell I'm going to start writing a book, and about what? And I said to myself, well, how about writing a book about myself? About how poor I was when I was a little girl. About how my mother raised me. And she passed away. I was only 13. And growing up without a mother is very difficult. Well, hey, here I am and I made it. And this is why I spread mental health awareness along with physical health awareness. Because it's not about being skinny, it's not about being in shape or having a nice body. This is what they portray on TV, that we have to be this model-like, good person. We don't have to. What we have to have is mental clarity. What we have to do is spread the word. Mental health is health. And we need it. And we need to spread out the word, because there are a lot of women, not only Latina, there's men, women, kids out there that need to know that there's always help. There's always somebody there that can listen to you, that can help you in any way they can. And one of the ways that you can help people is by listening to them, by not judging them, because that's why people don't want to talk about anything. Because the first thing they start saying is, well, maybe you shouldn't do this. You know, just listen to people. Don't judge them. Give them an ear. That's all they need. It helps a lot. With that said, I am in the legal business. I've been in it since I was 19 years old. And I am a paralegal for a big firm in New Jersey. And a year ago, I partnered with this really great company called North Star. North Star is a company whose mission and vision is mental health awareness. Our products are nootropics. I don't know if you ever heard about nootropics, but those are what's called the smart drug, although our products are natural. They are backed with nootropics. It's for mental clarity, it's for energy. We're the first company that these products contain a jitter-free blend. Usually when you take something for energy, it gives you palpitations and you feel weird. We're jitter-free, so it's even better. We have our protein collagen here. The products are for weight loss, fat loss, but most important is for mental clarity. So you are more than welcome to visit my little table over there. If you have any questions, I can answer them for you. I have my business card, but thank you so much. Writing this book was very hard because I would cry so much about, you know, writing about my childhood. Every time I wrote, I would cry. My husband would say, you were writing, right? So, yes. So at least I feel like me quité un peso encima, you know, like there's this weight lifted off of me because now my story is out there, and I hope that it helps every single girl that doesn't have to be a Latina, but yes, Latina, because I am Latina. I come from Dominican Republic. I come from poverty, and I just want every little girl to know out there that there's a way out. Somehow, some way, you just gotta reach out so that people can help you. Thank you.
I have been really enjoying like picking Marisol's brain and talking with her through text or through messaging and just going back and forth. The next woman I want to introduce is Amanda, and I met Amanda a little while back and had invited her to be on the IWB Mastermind. I think it was like there was some sort of a program online that I was like, I wanted you to participate in. So I keep trying to think that, like, I feel like Amanda could have been a woman that I grew up with. Every time I see you, and I always say this to her, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna embarrass you, but every time I see you, I'm just like, you remind me of my friends back home, but you're nice. And I grew up, you know, in a very heavy gang environment, and all of my friends were totalists, and all of us used to, I was the only non-fighter. I think I was maybe the only one who wasn't a fighter. But, you know, I feel this sisterhood with you, and I always tell you every time I see you. I want to thank you so much for your participation, and Amanda also has a really amazing space. I want you to tell us a little bit about it. So let us know, who are you, what are you about, and what was your experience like when you were writing the book?
Guys, I'm Amanda Alonso. I don't know about this whole Chola vibe. Is it the Texas on Scissors?
I don't know. I think it's the black. I don't know.
It's the LA vibe. It's okay. I'm from the LA area, 66 area. This was on my knuckles, but I own a location called FemPowered. It's a women empowerment studio networking center in West Covina, and I created it the same way I created my podcast. It was a place meant for women to tell their stories, to grow, to build, to connect, use it for whatever they want. It was an accessible place when I was younger, and I always had ventures that I was doing. I never had a place that could afford to do anything. So you're like 18, you don't have $1,000 to rent out space. So I make it very affordable for women that are starting their business to use the space for what they need it to be used for. My story was a little bit more about how I got there. My whole thing is it's never too late. I'm 35. I started everything in my 30s. I got my degree in my 30s, everything in my 30s after a really bad relationship. And that's kind of been my thing, is sharing my story just so that other people can hear it. And if there's women out there that have gone through the same situation with their ex or whatever the relationship was, to know that they're not the only ones out there, and that you can still do whatever you want, no matter how old you are. There's no such thing as you're too old to do anything. So, yeah. But you know, I enjoyed the experience sharing my story, because just if it touches one person, that's all I'm meant to do. Be here to at least change one person's life.
I'm going to have you. Next, Wendy. So I connected with Wendy online, and so I want to make sure that I stand in the right spot, Joe. I keep thinking of you every time I talk. And we just kind of hit it off, and I was just going back and forth with her, and I was like, what are your thoughts on telling your story? And so I want to have you share with us a little bit about yourself. Come on up here. Share a little bit about yourself and tell us who you brought with you, because you have some amazing guests as well. And then what this experience was like for you to write your story, and what you hope it does for our sisters and our future sisters.
Thank you. Everybody that is here, and yes, my name is Wendy Lorenzo, and I brought my mother and my father, and already just taking it in. First of all, everybody, your stories have been amazing and so touching. I've been into it, like holding back tears since I came. But my experience writing this story has been absolutely healing. I think it's important to share stories, because sometimes we hold them in and we think that we're the only ones that are going through struggles and through turmoil, and we forget that there's other people that are experiencing the same thing. So for me, this experience, what it was like was not only was it healing, but it was a witnessing of who I am as a woman, who I am as a daughter, as a mother, as just me, who I am, showing up in the world. So when I was writing the story, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I write? What do I say? Who am I, right? Like, I am this young girl from the South Central Los Angeles, and who am I to be telling my story? But then what came to me was like, well, wait a minute, who am I not to, right? Because I think we're all given this gift to just share what we have inside. And for me, it was just that awakening to show up as myself in the world, share my story, so that not only the people that come after me, but people who have probably been in similar situations where they feel like they're not worthy, like they're not enough, to see that if I was able to go through these experiences and still come out and finally see my worth and find this inner peace and this inner happiness, then so it is possible for you too. And I thank you, Vino, because it was just an absolutely, just an absolute honor. And it was an amazing experience. And I just feel like this is needed. Our stories are very important. And thank you for letting me share. I'm still shaking because I don't speak normally. I do it on video, but not in person. So thank you. And yeah, what I think I did mention what I hope what I hope that comes out from is that people feel inspired, and that they awaken to hope, and that they awaken to love. So that is me.
I didn't intend for all the tears, but I knew it was going to happen. I knew it would. So I want to still have you introduce yourself, because we're just going to go all the way down the line. Okay. Come on up. Also, while you are transitioning up to here, you know I'm going to roll into plant-based food. So your amazing garbanzo bean ceviche and is made by this amazing woman over there, Miss Diosa Herrera. She is a local plant-based vegan chef, and I found her online, and she has a very impressive Instagram page. And I was looking through her foods, and she's been doing a lot of like cooking around the area. So her information is in the program. You'll be able to find her online. Make sure to like her, follow her, and invite her to cook for you. So all of your food is plant-based. We have giant salad. We've got the ceviche, garbanzo bean ceviche, chips, salsa, beans, and rice. So I just want to thank Diosa over there making all of our amazing food for bringing it to us.
I just want to say that virtually, we are hoping that you guys will come and tell us how each and every bite tastes, because we are very jealous over here across the country. Just the thought of it is making my mouth water.
I'm a huge fan of ceviche. It's definitely my jam. And so when she was like, yeah, I do garbanzo bean ceviche, I was like, I've never had garbanzo bean ceviche. So let's do that. And it's like, it's going to be a hot day. So let's get something nice and cool. So yeah, I'm sorry. I will maybe try to ship something over to you.
At least show us. And also already Kristen just added that she's drooling. I think we all are. Like, I can't.
Without further ado.
Well, my name is Sonia Castaneda. I actually wasn't planning on speaking. Hello, Zoom world. I help families set up their finances. I'm in the insurance and investment business. I'm a Latina, single mom, and I think that, as several of you guys have said, I think it's extremely important to remember that our mental health is essential, that at the end of the day, we're our biggest supporters and our biggest enemies. If we're not good with us, we can't really do anything. As moms, as daughters, we're useless if we're not right with ourselves. So, let's make sure that we all take a minute to do an inventory of where we're at, and if we need the help, as you're saying, let's go get that help. There's a lot of resources out there for every income bracket, and let's do the work. It's not easy. We're gonna have to be brave. We're gonna have to be vulnerable. We'll have to push and be very uncomfortable. But we have to. We want to take it to the next level, and it's just what we gotta do. We're amazing women, so let's just get it done and give yours.
Thank you. I started putting mics in people's hands, and I find that it's a really great opportunity for us to be more collaborative in gathering together. So if the mic gets to you as we go down, if you don't want to really say anything, then that's okay, you don't have to, but totally gonna pressure you to do it. So Oksana is, her bio is in the program. She's going to be giving a brief presentation in a little while, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, gorgeous ladies. My name is Oksana Mutelka. I'm an intuitive business coach. I'm a psychologist. I'm Tony Robbins' strategic interventionist. I'm a psychic and a healer. So, and an NLP master. I'm not Latina, but I'm Latina at heart, and I have a lot of friends and clients as well, especially from the Dominican Republic. I heard there's so many leaders from here, from the Dominican Republic. So I'm Ukrainian, yeah, I'm American of Ukrainian origin. My story, I'm very passionate about women's movement, about connecting and empowering each other. And this is my expertise pretty much, because I mostly work with women. So it's very important for me that there are more ladies, goddesses in this world who stand up, and we are this movement. That's how I see it. So many changes in the world now, and I think we are naturally the energy shift that we are sometimes on the physical 3D level, and sometimes just spiritually connecting all the time. So my story is, don't know where to start. Well, probably a part of the story that I lived in the US. I lived in Southern California, $1 million house. I had like very expensive luxury cars. I mean, you know, going to 5-star hotels. And my life was beautiful on the inside. However, I remember one day that was probably like, it felt like the worst day of my life. But in the end, it ended up to be my awakening. So I was sitting on the floor and I was crying. I was crying and talking to God and saying, is there anything else? Why am I not happy? Why am I feeling guilty? And I clearly heard the voice that said that there's so many things that you have. And that was the day where I decided to bet on myself and just go ahead, and there's been so much awakening. And I just went there to the world and I started feeling it, you know, because one of my limiting beliefs was that I'm a bad salesperson. So millions of dollars after, you know, sales for corporation, for my real estate business, and you know, helping a lot of clients to accumulate so much in revenues. I proved myself wrong. So I wanted to conduct the meditation and healing later on because there's so much I would love to say, but I guess we're limited in time. So I want to show and connect, and it's, I truly believe that the life-changing, lifelong changes happen through healing, through, you know, removing those mental blocks, emotional blocks, energetic, to own your power, to embody. So I wanted to show it later on.
Thank you so much, Oksana. I appreciate you coming here, and I'm looking forward to, she will be our closing presentation today, and so I'm really excited to be learning more from you. And thank you so much for being here. And I get asked, you know, for this program, you know, specifically because we're launching the Boss Latina Anthology, we're talking a lot about Latina backgrounds and origins, and the title of our programs are always Business Women of Diversity, because I felt that when I started to say Business Women of Diversity, you get more women of diversity who come to your events. And, you know, as like the petite brown woman that I was, or that I am, I wanted to see more women in the room that were having a greater diversity. So all women, you know, I mean, my mom is like tall and blonde and blue eyes. And so my dad and I look quite similar. And so I really want to thank you for coming, not being Latina, showing support of business women in general, because we are business women. And when we decide to go into business for ourselves, we are already not the norm. In California, I think we are starting to be more so the norm. More women are starting businesses, especially because of COVID, especially because so many of us ended up needing to stay home with our children. So we still needed a way to finance our lives. So then we became business owners. So let's go to our next amazing lady, who is a Boss Latina author, Miss Olga. Our jokes on here can't see you and hear you. I love your dress.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Stadium for giving me the opportunity to be part of this book. When I first started, I was like, what am I going to speak about, you know? And right now, listening to every story, I know why. I just listen to every single one. I'm a first generation
Hispanic woman coming to the US. I always said I had a foot in and a foot out. I'm from a border town, so I was raised in both cultures. And there was a huge difference when I came here and started noticing, like, you don't fit in one side, you don't fit in the other side. You're like, where do I fit? You know, I'm not 100% Mexican, I'm not 100% American. What am I? You know, even though I am 100% Mexican. So I started coming here and I started changing my mindset, doing the whole culture. And when I started writing, I was like, what part of my story? Like, is it really gonna make a difference? Because that's the most important thing. Being part of this book is making a difference for somebody else. And there's hundreds of Latinos that come here all the time from Mexico and try to make a better life and dream for their families. So I came here as a single mom, and I started off, I was like, okay, what do I say? And then I said, you know, one of the biggest struggles we have is the culture change. A lot of times we don't realize how much we have to change our culture, but keep our culture. You know, be proud of being Latina, be proud of your roots, but at the same time, if you're in a different country, go ahead and blend into that. And I was able to create the dream life that I always thought, you know, somebody should have. I'm able to have a business. I was able to buy my own house. I've been a single mom 2 times now. I've raised 3 boys and, you know, all these things. And I'm an international speaker. You can't tell right now, but every time I speak, it's the same thing. I spoke in front of about 200 women, and it's always the same. So anyways, I love traveling. I love being able to put the work. So now as a coach, I am able to empower a lot of women across, not just here in the US, but all South America. And that's one of the biggest things that I was able to put into that. And I really, really appreciate you, because I know every woman can do it, no matter what the situation is. Thank you.
So I am grateful that we have more ladies here that we will get to, but first I want to get to Viviana, because she is one of the other authors in our book. And I just want to say that because of you, I'm not going to cry, because of you, I had, chilly now, I had the courage to change, to not just pick up and leave, but I needed to get out of my space. I needed to get away from a violent relationship. I needed to do something different, and I wasn't sure what to do. And when I met Viviana and I invited her to be on the International Women in Business Monthly Mastermind that I like to do, and then I just kept poking at her and be like, can you do this? Are you available to do this? And I think it's a lot like my vibe with Amanda, is like when I find these women that I admire and that I just feel so comfortable around, I keep bugging you. So, and you always say it, and I will start paying you eventually. Viviana has spoken at most of the Power Luncheons, mostly virtually, and then now that I have moved down to Southern California, now she speaks so often at the in-person events, and she has just such an amazing organization, and now she's doing even more stuff, collaborating with other attorneys, the In Heels, Attorney In Heels Network. So for all of you who are in the legal industry as Latina women, make sure that you're reaching out to Viviana. She's got this amazing network of Latina attorneys that she is putting together. And I was on your website. I see that it's all updated. You've got all of these women listed in, as well as their specialties. And I wanted to basically call that out, to say that I think like Amanda is doing with Empower Den, Viviana definitely does with all of the work that she does, and collaborating with other women and helping other women to feel that they have a platform to speak on, and that, you know, if they want to do something, then she's like, let's do it. So without further ado, Viviana, would you please share with us a little more about your business, and as well as what it was like for you to share your story in the book and what you hope it will do for our sisters and future sisters. And Viviana always has.
I know, I'm a wedges. I'm not a attorney wedges. I have been moving for 3 days and I just like put it
I always love for outfits as well too. Maybe that's another thing.
So I'm Viviana Lopeza, and I, of course, am the attorney in Heels. That's how I branded myself when I launched my firm. And as Steve said, I now have the Attorneys in Heels Network, which is an attorney in every field of law that you need. When I first became an attorney, I realized that less than 2% of attorneys are female Latinas. So my goal is to not only increase that number, but also support the ones that are in the field so that we can grow together. So that's why I launched the Attorneys in Fields Network, and I have an attorney in every single field of law. I have, you know, your family law attorney, your employment attorney, your bankruptcy attorney, your criminal defense attorney. I have them all. And we all collaborate and we work together so that we can provide people legal services in all fields of law. My specialty is corporate law, so that's how Vee and I connected, because I create companies for business women. I help people fulfill those dreams. I've always been that way since I was a kid. When someone had an idea or a dream, I'm like, oh, what is the next step that we need to do to accomplish it, right? So I kind of took that on, and eventually when I became a lawyer, I was like, I am going to be the fulfiller of dreams as a lawyer. So that's what I do. I help you take from concept to creation what will be your company and what will be, you know, your business venture, your dream. And I absolutely love doing it. I did that for myself, and I'm right there in the trenches with you guys. I go through the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship. And I love doing what I do. The Boss Latina anthology for me, as it has been for all of you, is therapy, right? As you start to spill your story onto paper, you start to realize that you're processing, right? And not only that, like, you start to realize that you're healing at the same time, because you're going to share it with the world so that we can each identify with each other's struggles. And I think that's one of the things that I'm very excited about this book, is reading each and every one of your stories and using it as therapy. I have a very similar story to, all I can think of, Olga, right? Olga, I was raised on both sides of the border. I was born here in San Diego, but I was mostly raised in Nogales, Jalisco, and that's where I attended school for most of my life. We came back and forth every so often, but like her, you know, I didn't belong on either side. You're in Mexico and they don't see you as Mexican, and you're here and they don't see you as American, so you're always trying to find your place. And I think that was part of my struggles. So I actually wrote my story around what I title it as, "Can you even make a tortilla?" And the reason I did that is because it was one of those things that they used to tell me in Mexico a lot. When, you know, you think you're grown, you think you can move out, can you even make a tortilla? Like, if that's the one thing that defines us and makes us, you know, a grown-up or a person that's ready for the world. So I wrote my story surrounding that, and it's comical, but it's real, because they seem to categorize most of us women around, like, are you ready to take care of a family? Are you ready to take care of a man? Can you make a meal? Like that should be the one defining thing about us. So I use that as motivation to create myself in many different areas, you know, to develop. Yes, I have kids, and yes, I had a husband, but there's more to us than that. You know, we are people with dreams. We are people who care and nurture, build the world. And I think that we need to focus on that as well. So that's why I kind of wrote my chapter on this whole funny tortilla concept. But I can't wait to read everybody's stories. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm glad that I'm part of this book. Bede and I have been working together for several years, and I'm just really glad that she welcomed me into this empowerment empire space. It has been healing. It has been motivational because, you know, I too, like all of you who are entrepreneurs, like have my downs, my ups and downs. And when I have my downs, I have the pull me out and, you know, let's keep going, right? So thank you so much for giving us this platform, Bede, so that we can share our stories and we can learn from each other. And I'm so happy that I've been part of it.
I would like, so Victoria, I'm gonna have you go last. Okay, so you wanna come back over here? Would you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Okay. So I'm Becky Freed, and I met Beheel. She actually reached out to me. I'm a personal brand photographer and a brand strategist. And just a few days ago, we had a phone call, and she wanted me to take her photos. And I just love her personality over the phone. And so she told me about this. It was totally last minute. I invited my good friend and client, Lynette, and I really enjoyed just hearing you guys. I want to get better at public speaking. I have no experience at all. And I love how you speak, and I love all of you. Just getting up here, sharing your stories, being so raw and real just really touched me. And so it's been very encouraging and exciting. And I don't know anything about what's going to happen with your, I don't know if you've told people you're moving or, yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, God. Scratch. But yeah, I love learning about this kind of stuff, and I just would love to be more involved.
I'm so glad that you were able to make it. We had such a great conversation.
We did.
She's a Hera Hub sister. If you all are not familiar with Hera Hub, it is a women's co-working space throughout the San Diego area, as well as DC. There's one in DC as well.
Yeah, I just found out about that.
And she has a great agency that she is building.
Yeah, my new business.
Yeah. Photography. And I really loved your website. I loved your work, and you know, like my life plans are changing here pretty drastically in the next couple of weeks again. And so we're not saying we're working together. It's exciting, but we just chatted it up again, and it was really great to talk to you and to speak with you. And I'm so glad that you came and we were able to like meet in person.
Yeah,
and so
you're awesome. All of you guys are amazing. This is really cool.
And so like,
thank you.
And it was nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to definitely follow her. Looking forward to how your agency will grow, because I can already see she is a phenomenal photographer. And for some of you who may or may not know, I used to do photography years ago before I had Victoria, and editing got too much to do as a single parent. So I decided to retire from being a professional photographer, but I always have a keen eye out for who has great photos, because your photos really, you know, they tell your story. And if you have the right type of a photograph, then you're able to effectively tell your story through the image, through the look. And so if you're local here in San Diego and you're looking for a branding photo shoot, like the whole shebang, definitely meet up with this amazing woman here. So next, I would love thank you so much for bringing a guest. Would you please tell us who you are, what you do, and what brought you here today? Dress in fabulous shoes. I did say dress, you know, business sassy. And so I love.
Well, usually I'm the CEO in my business. But yes, my name is Lynette Walsh. Up to a year and a half ago, up to that kind of stuff. But, so the Dominican Republic just follows me. But I am after about 25 years in the biotech, biopharma industry, making my last company probably $1 billion, getting nothing out of it. I just decided that I definitely had to focus on building my dream. And so I am a peak performance coach as well as a corporate transition strategist. And so I help leaders to give them a leg up in terms of building high performing teams so that they can push whatever the milestones or the objectives of their corporations forward. And then as a corporate transition strategist, I help midlife women as myself, older, who are looking for a better way of life to say goodbye to corporate and build their dreams. And so I'm really actually looking forward. Hey, I said no video. I'm actually looking forward to reading the anthology because I think that the stories are important, the voice is important, because there's always things that we can learn, from other minorities. And being a minority and being the experience that, Blacks have had in this country, there are going to be some correlations in terms of experiences and things of that nature. But one of the things that I can say is that we have to be really, we have to ensure that we are not letting our environment, our past, or especially for us, like what that person is saying, hold us down, or things that's going to take us back, because there's just so much potential in every single one of us. And our stories are important. What we do is important. Our dreams is the most important. So whatever that dream that you have, you can't achieve it if you go out there and hustle for it. And not hustle in a bad way, because some people don't want to hear the word grind, they don't want to hear the word hustle, but you have to get in there, dig deep, because sometimes you're going to like, oh, this is not even worth it. And even the other day I was like, oh, you're going to corporate, but no, all of our dreams are important. And the sauce that built us is what we're going to get to stir into the rest of the world. That's going to make us even more powerful. That's going to make us more impactful. And that's going to also make us more, of the women that others want to look up to, no matter what culture you are from. And so I spend a lot of time with people from other cultures because it's very important to me to be a very global-minded person to really learn what other people bring to the table. And that's what made me one of the greatest leaders. That's why I have had employees that follow me from company to company to company, because I'm genuinely interested in making that person the best that they can be, and to continue to build their dreams while also building my dreams at the same time. So one hand up also brings your hand up. So that's one of the things that you should always remember as well. And so again, I'm really looking forward to reading the book, and I'm excited for all of you and what you have coming in store. Thank you.
Moment of your time. I like to bring people up so that we can learn about you. This is a lot of what we do during the cake coffee conversations, and I felt like it just flowed better right when we did it. It just really gave us an opportunity to get to know one another, to get to know all of the women who are joining us virtually, so that we are truly experiencing this sense of collective collaboration. I'm so grateful that you are all here and that you are joining us today. So what I would like to do, we have a presentation, but I wanted to do a quick break first. So we're gonna take about, I know we are on-ish schedule, which is really fantastic because we're not always on-ish schedule. So I want to go ahead and let us have a quick break. I'm going to have my lunch as well. And then we will meet our sponsors. 1 Point Credit Union has been super supportive and super gracious to help sponsor several of the programs that I have done. Marisol is another one of our sponsors for this event, and so she will have an opportunity to talk more about her things. I want you to take this time to have your lunches. The restroom is there. Go and look at the vendor tables that they have. What I would also like to do is to let you know what I have set up. So the Empowerment Empire produces a lot of publications. I am a huge advocate of reading. And my daughter, who I don't think joined us via Zoom, who is 9, you know, learned, and I'm going to say this, it's embarrassing, learned how to read well because of her video games. And so I'm working through that right now because I'm a book person, clearly. But I wanted to share all of the books that I have produced and that I've been a collaborator within. So the very first anthology that I put together is Voices of Queer Femmes, or Voices Day Queer Femmes, because all the women in the book identify in some way, shape, or form along the LGBTQ spectrum. They're the photograph of me on the front. You can slightly see I'm about 8.5 months pregnant, and we're at like a marriage equality protest. And so this is just a sense of why I'm so passionate about women telling their stories. Because when we live in a silo, we don't do anyone any favors. So when we put ourselves out there into the world and we share our stories, what you get from sharing is so therapeutic, but what you get from sharing your story is you get the opportunity to make it easier on another woman, on another person. And that was my first experience. I do not have a copy of the Empowered Women of Empower Hour, I don't believe. But you can find that at my website, women'sempowermentcoach.us. The newest book that I put together is 100 Fantastic Affirmations to Inspire You. So this, and what I love about this book also is that all the pages are pink. Like, so when I was, when my little girl was about 5, 6 years old, I would drive her to school every day. And she was always really scared to go to school. And I had her in preschool full-time at 4 years old because I was working full-time. And so she would go to preschool from 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I would pick her up around 4:30 in the afternoon, and which is also why I went into business for myself, because I didn't want to spend so much time away from my child. But what we would do every day is we would say affirmations to build us up. I hated my job at the time, and I needed building up too. And so we would spend all this time building each other up every day. My 4-year-old, my 4, 5, 6-year-old, this is one child, but every year as she got older, the affirmations got more interesting and a little bit more complex, a little bit longer. And one day I said the same affirmation as I did the day before. And she called me on it and was like, "No, Mom, we can't say the same affirmation." And I was like, "Of course we could say the same affirmation. I totally stand behind that." But she was like, "Yeah, but we don't usually. So can you come up with a new one?" So then I was like, okay, I got a lot of stuff in my brain. So I'm going to write note cards, and I'm going to keep note cards on all the affirmations that I say. So that as we're driving to school, I can pull out these note cards and be like, okay, here's our affirmation, so that it's not the same as the day before. And eventually I had this stack of note cards. And my daughter, Victoria, was like, "Mom, you just got to put them in the book." And this was right around the time that I was starting the Boss Latinas anthology as well. And so finally I decided, okay, so I started the affirmations book right around the same time. And it just kind of, it kept getting back burner because I was, doing other stuff. I was working on the anthology. I was trying to transition my life. And about a month or so ago, my daughter, again, was like, we haven't done affirmations in a while, Mom. Where's the note cards? And have you finished the book? And I was like, ooh, no, I have not. She's like, and you're doing this whole girly thing now, so you should probably make the pages pink. So thus, the book is pink. So I have the 100 Fantastic Affirmations to Inspire You. And then on my glossy table over there is Magistra magazine. So as I talked earlier about wanting to capture stories, it started, with the brunches and the power luncheons and making sure that I was providing a platform for women to tell their stories. Who are they, where they came from, what was the business they decided to start, how did they get it started, and then what do they offer? And as I wanted to continue capturing those stories, I thought, well, I need to put them somewhere because I'm a book person. So I was like, let's create a magazine. So Magistra magazine, Magistra is Latin for woman teacher. And I started the magazine. So on my table are the 7 previous copies. We do them once a quarter. They coincide with the Power Luncheon. And for the summer, we're going to launch that in August so that we can do a recap of this event. And before anybody needs to leave, let me know so that we can go ahead and do like a nice group photo, because I'd like to include a group photo, for each of our events. So with that, take this time to take a break, use the restroom, stand up, stretch. I always like to walk around. Femex Quarters is a great space for selfies, just saying. Look at all of these vendor tables and then we'll reconvene, I would say, in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hey, Joe.
Hi.
You want to play us some intermission music?
I certainly can look for some. And also, give me a time frame so we can log off and also maybe get a nosh. It won't be nearly as delicious as yours, but I will try.
How about I'll set a timer for is 10 minutes good or is that too long?
No, that's perfect. 10 minutes. All right. We're back at 36.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear. trying to find Shahira.
Lucky you were born that far away, so we could both make fun of distance. Lucky that I love her for and for the lucky fact of your existence. Baby, I will climb the Andes solely to count the freckles on your body. Never could imagine there were only 10 million ways to love somebody. Can't you see? I'm at your feet. Whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near, and that's the deal, my dear. They're over, here under. You never have to wonder. We can always play by ear, but that's the deal, my dear. Lucky that my lips not only mumble, they spill kisses like a fountain. Lucky that my breasts are small and humble, so you don't confuse them with mountains. Lucky I have strong words like my mother to run for cover when I need it. And these two eyes that for no other, the day you leave will cry a river. At your feet, I'm at your feet. Whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near, and that's the deal, my dear. They're over, you're under, forever, both no longer. We can always play by ear, but that's the deal, my dear. Think out loud, say it again. Tell me one more time that you'll live lost in my eyes. Whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near, and that's the deal, my dear. They're over, you're under, you got me head over heels. There's nothing left to feel if you really feel the way I feel. Whenever, wherever, we're meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near, and that's the deal, my dear. They're over, you're under, you got me head over heels. There's nothing left to feel if you really feel the way I feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Moulin Rouge.
Where's all my soul sisters? Let me hear your flow, sisters.
Hey, sister, go, sister, soul, sister, flow, sister. Hey, sister, go, sister, soul, sister, go. He met Mama Lot down in old Moulin Rouge, strutting stuff on the street. She said, hello, hey, Joe, you wanna give it a go? Get you, yeah, yeah, da, da. Get you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mocha chocolate, yeah, yeah. Pretty lady, Mona Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He sat in a pool while she freshened up.
in the garter belts. Let them know we bout that cake straight out the gate. We independent women, some mistake us for whores. I'm saying, why spend mine when I can spend yours? Disagree? Well, that's you, and I'm sorry. I'ma keep playing these cats out like guitar. High heel shoes, getting love from the Jews, for badass chicks from the Moulin Rouge. Hey, sisters, soul sisters, better get that dough, sisters. We drink wine with diamonds in the glass by the case, the meaning of expensive taste.
You want an inche, ay, ay.
Come on,
mocha chocolate.
What? Rio Lady Mama.
Oh my God.
You're broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round. You can't find the fighter, but I see it in you. You're gonna walk it out and move mountain. Gonna walk it out and move mountain. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you. For you. Oh, you. For you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, no, I feel like dying, and I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, oh, for you, oh, for you. All we need, all we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, oh, we will rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll rise 1,000 times again. We'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up to 1,000 again for you, you, for you, oh, for you, oh, 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 oh. Last dance, last chance for love. Yes, it's my last chance for romance tonight. I need you by me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, to score me, 'cause when I'm back, I'm so glad. So let's dance, the last dance, let's dance, the last dance, let's dance, the last dance tonight. The last dance for love. Yes, it's my last dance for romance tonight. By me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, to score me, 'cause when I'm back, let's dance, the last dance, let's dance, the last dance, last dance tonight. Hold me, go, because when oh, come on, baby, dance, come on, baby, come on, baby, let's dance tonight.
to do our group photo really quickly, and then we will do our vendor presentations.
You're going to do the group photo here that includes whoever's able to make it onto the thing. All right, perfect. All right, who is left? I think it's Virginia. It's you and me. We have a group photo coming.
And then we will do our vendor presentations. Yeah.
Testing, testing.
Can we get everyone to come over here, and we're going to be placing you.
I hope we're in the shot. I hope that's where you're building it, is around me. Because I can't go there.
Okay, so do you want anybody holding anything like your book or hold your book?
How about I hold the author?
Okay, so I want to make sure I'm saying your name right, but it is you.
Nihil, are you finding a way to include us over here?
We are. So I'm going to take your photos and put them into the picture because it's so dark where we have to put the computer, and there's not a plug to put the computer where we want to take our picture. But I'll let you watch.
Okay. Thank you. And also, if someone wants to, oh, look how charming that is. If someone wants to pull up the this on the phone, we can be in it.
Okay.
I like that space.
Yeah.
That's charming. Oh, I'm right here. So, I'm doing lips. Okay. One of our sponsors. And then we'll have Victoria and yes, so figure out who we want around to. And then everybody. And then of course
taller ones in the back. So no, we can go taller. Yeah. The dedicated. So who's gonna sit in here? Who's gonna sit here? You should sit here. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. You know, like everybody with like a really pretty heels in the front. Yes. Oh, so I'll go with that. Amanda, you should go here because you have like the yellow shoes. Yellow shoes? Yeah. I'm gonna use you. You're good. Nice whole stand. You're good. Spread out. Okay. So I did. You have pretty shoes. Gotta stay on brand.
Right. I know. When I put these shoes on today, I thought of you. So I thought of you. I was like, I'm gonna wear these. Normally, I just wear like this boring black heels. And I was like, nope, we're going for it today.
Okay. I know your dress is just so you can move us around. Yeah. Well, no, everybody looks good actually. And then I'm gonna squeeze it over here. So yeah. And then everybody, yeah, your ankle cross your feet.
Yes, how's our posing?
Yeah, cross your feet with the ankle. And then we'll do it fun. Okay, try to take. I don't know how to turn this camera.
Oh, just push the button a little bit, just like.
Push it real hard.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, like push it and yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so the one girl over here, like there's a step back.
It's like center yourself with me.
Yeah, I'll get her.
Oh, she just, how do we go back to the oh. That's pretty.
That's good job. That's really good. Yeah, you gotta get everybody's shoes though. Make sure you don't cut off anybody's head or anybody's shoes.
Cheese.
I would step back a little bit more. Try one more. So go.
Cheese. Cheese.
But and when you take it, try not to move your hand. So hold it real still and push it down real hard. Hold on, move it. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna run. We'll do one. And then we'll have you take like 5. So anybody blinks.
Tell us when. Say 1, 2, 3. Say 1, 2, 3. And then on 3, push the plunger.
1, 2, 3. Now do fun, ladies. Put your hands up. Woo! Fun stuff. Come on. 1, 2, 3. One more. Let's do one more fun one. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more, and I want you to just like, just keep flashing. Okay.
Keep your finger down.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Ready? So waist up, high, shoulders up, chins up, go. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, ladies, to reconvene with our program. There we go. Thank you so much, ladies online who are watching us be silly over there. So what I would like to do now is recognize the fact that none of the programs that have been produced by the Empowerment Empire, sorry, I'm looking for my schedule. None of the programs produced by the Empowerment Empire could have been made possible without the support of sponsors, vendors, partners, collaborators. And I really wanted to take this opportunity to make sure that we share these amazing women with you all. There we go. Because it's so important that we reach out and that we partner with each other. So if you have an event coming up, or if you have a project that you're working on, or you want to give a presentation, or you've put together a new course, you're teaching something, you're doing something that could be even greater if you reached out to your sisters. I like to be a connector personally. The mantra of the Empowerment Empire is through collective collaboration, we all rise. And I truly, truly believe in that. I think you could see just, with our experience of putting our photographs together, when we all kind of work together, it turns out so much more fun. And now we might have a brewing photographer amidst that. So I want to introduce our sponsors, and Vivian, I always want to call you Viviana, it's Victoria. Which I should know this because my daughter's name is Victoria. But then Adriana calls you Vicky, which drives me insane because I hate when people call my daughter Victoria or Vicky. Anyway, so Victoria from My Point Credit Union is going to be sharing with us some of the really great programs that My Point Credit Union offers to encourage, inspire, support small business owners, Latina business owners of diversity. They are a really, not like your average bank, because I'm not a fan of the big banks, and I'm not afraid to say that. And however, I do have some great friends who work at JP Morgan Chase. And I have some great friends who work at some of the larger big banks. But what I have learned about My Point Credit Union is, I think, really valuable that I wanted to make sure to share. So with you, please. And Jo, she has your presentation, but she might not be using it. So I'm going to have you stand around here so our group online can also see you.
Definitely. Well, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, ladies, for sharing all of your wonderful stories. That is basically, I made this PowerPoint. I don't think this is the right platform. This is, I'm just going to speak from the heart because this is really what this is all about. And it's really, this is why we're here is all of our stories. And I'm going to cry now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself first, and then I'll get into that. I will get to my awesome boss, Adriana, the reason why I'm here as well, and the reason why Rachel is here. So I am born here in San Diego native. If you look at me, you would not think I'm Latina. I've gotten everything but Mexican, I've gotten Chaldean, I've gotten a little bit of everything until I speak Spanish is what they're like, what are you? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, well, I've been always trying to find out who I am. I'm like, because everyone defines by the color of our skin. And that's not right. That's so not right. We are more than just the color of our skin. I am so proud to be not only Mexican, Spanish, German, and English. So my dad growing up, my parents, I am a product of my parents. I am who I am because of them. My dad, German, so proud, so proud. I grew up and he kept telling me, don't follow the Joneses, be the Joneses. So that German little fire, along with my mom's Latin fire, yes, I'm unstoppable. There's so much that we can do for each other. And me, I hate to say it, but I have, just because of my color of my skin, I can open the door for so many people because people don't know what I am. They look at me and they're like, you're white. Okay, sure. What do you need me to be for me to get in that door? Because I will get in that door with or without you. And I will trailblaze for anybody that is not given that same opportunity. I will open that door for them because it's not right. It is so not right. I see discrimination so much. I've been discriminated against. I've been bullied at work. I've had to actually turn my boss into HR and I resigned. That same day, I met with my CEO. First things he tells me is, why didn't you come to me? I would have protected you. From what? What did I need protection from? Is my question. Wow. Now, that same day, I told him, I said, it's gonna take a little bit. I said, when you retire, I'd like to be CEO. I want to be where you are. He asked me, was this always in you? I said, yes, waiting to come out. We can do whatever we want to be if we believe in ourselves. That is what I'm here to tell you guys. I regained my power a year after I left the credit union. I'm not going to say which one. My old boss was fired. They understood what I was doing. And now I look at every one of you and I want to protect all of you guys. That's just me. So I wholeheartedly, if you guys would love to be part of Manada San Diego, I welcome you. My boss as well. She's North County, Manada San Diego, we welcome you. My Point Credit Union, we look for the underdogs. We look for the people that don't have a voice, aren't given that same opportunity, and we will sponsor you. We will find a way to make it happen, even though we don't have that big of a budget. We will support you. We will give you a voice. We will find a way to make it happen because it's not right. That's why thank you for yours as well. I appreciate your color of our skin. It's crazy. That's it. We're human. That's all I needed. That's all you need to know. We're human. I used to say when someone asked me, what are you? I'm like, I'm an alien. But now I can't say that, so I'm human. But that's what we're here about. And I love financial literacy. I can talk about credit forever. Vishal, you know that. I love empowering women, not only women, men too. Not everyone's good at finances, but I can say that I had an 850 credit score before COVID, thanks COVID. But yeah, where there is a will, there's a way. And I'm gonna find that way. And when I become CEO, not if, when, I'm gonna have a great C-level that I can trust with my employees, because I will not let them in that door if they're gonna discriminate anybody. Because that right there, no, it does not belong in the C-level. And bullying, no, that's just not right. So thank you, Vijay. I appreciate you. And my hermana, Miss Yvette out there, I know you're there. Thank you. You're such a sweetheart. So yes, I'd love for all of you guys to be my hermanas. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Please visit her vendor table. You can pull it in too, because it's on wheels. Thank you so very much for all of your support, for you and Adriana, and everything that you have been doing for the Empowerment Empire, sponsoring us and sharing the programs that I've been producing and asking me to be a speaker in some of their programs. It's been a really, really fantastic opportunity to connect and to get to know the two of you. I've had Adriana speak at another presentation or another program, and it's just these two women have these great personalities that are just so fun. And you know, Adriana always has me cracking up. The more I get to know Victoria, the more I'm like, you're fun. Like, you're a fun lady. And so I always appreciate you coming. I'm really glad you were able to make it. Join us today. We will talk about your submission for the next issue of the Boss Latinas Anthology. And so next, I would like to, would you like to come up? I know you spoke a little bit about your business, but I would like to give you an opportunity to also share more about your program. And then I can also help bring your table up too. It is a wonderful opportunity when we are able to get, to have women sign up to be a sponsor of a program. It is not always easy for growing businesses financially, but I think what I like to try to do when you are a sponsor of anything that the Empowerment Empire produces is, I'm going to pray for the here, is to really give you that stage and that platform to talk about your organization and your business, and what made you so passionate about your chosen industry. And if it's something that, you know, and for me, learning about health and wellness, physical health, mental wellness, is something that became very, very clear about that I wasn't giving to myself, because I was always very busy, you know, being a single mom, trying to build a business, working in my various consulting positions that I had, that I was slack on that. And so when I meet someone like Marisol, and she is also so passionate about health and wellness, it reminds me, that's right, you haven't been paying as good of attention to your own mental health and physical wellness lately. Why don't you take a step back, and why don't you learn something that can help to further your mental health and physical wellness? So without further ado, please tell us all about your amazing business and what made you really inspired and encouraged to get involved specifically with the company that you're working with, and how can we learn more about it?
Thank you so much. What really inspired me to belong to such a great company was their mission. Their mission is mental health awareness, as I said before, and physical health awareness. When they came out, it was still COVID time, and I am just grateful that something like this came out at that moment, because a lot of people lost their businesses, they lost their jobs, they felt like, you know, being home kind of like messed up with their minds, with their energy, with everything. You know, we all like gained some weight, we were depressed, we were everything but, you know, basket cake, like they say. But when this company came out, they came out with 3 products, one for the gut health. We know as women, you know, we always have, you know, we're not as regular as we wanted to be. I don't know if that's too much information, but we're women, we know what goes on with our bodies. And we came out with a really good product. And it's funny because the product is so funny because the product is green, but it tastes like berries. Like it's a green drink that tastes like berries. And it makes you regular, but it doesn't really like make you go to the bathroom running or anything like that. It just makes you regular. And this is a lifesaver because I've always had that type of problem in my life that I'm not regular. So I take this product every day. We also have our collagen protein. which is so funny because it tastes like birthday cake, and that's what it's called, birthday cake. And I love it. I actually mix it every morning. I use it as a meal replacement. And you can mix it with any type of fruit that you want, or ground coffee, which is my favorite. Know that I need coffee because I do get energy from my other products, but I just love the taste of coffee. So I put like ground coffee decaf in it just because. We have our nootropic energy pill here. And these are a lifesaver for me because, you know, when you take this pill in the morning in an empty stomach, because, you know, when you sleep at night and you wake up in the morning, your body is more susceptible to taking anything that you put in your body. And this is like taking it and waking up and like the lights going up, like on in the room. It gives you that type of energy, but it's jitter-free. So you don't feel heart palpitations, you don't feel any of that. I work out at 5:30 in the morning, so 5 a.m. when I get up, this is what I take with a whole bottle of water, and then I exercise. And on my way to work, I take our Summer Vibes. It's another NCT product. It's all nootropics. It's got MCT oil, which is really good for your body. It's got kombucha in it. If you guys have tried kombucha is really disgusting because it's usually it's like a tea, and it comes in and it's liquid, and I just can't take much of it. But we are the first company that came out with the product in powder, so it's got all these blends and it's got ketones in it, which are really good for your body. We also have the same Pandora collagen in a latte flavor for those that love their coffee taste. We have it like that too. I see, like, I'm in the legal business. I was just telling the girls that we went through a 2-week trial, and I don't like going out in the courthouse area to get lunch. So I usually carry my powders and I just mix them with water and I just drink them because that's how it is. We also have our Polaris. This is our pre-workout powder that you just mix with water, and I don't use this one anymore. I kind of just like use my Summer Vibes because it gives me the same energy, but this was one of the original products. But anyhow, most of our products, if not all, they're vegan, they're non-GMO, they're jitter-free, they don't contain any caffeine in the ones that do have a jitter-free blend, so you don't feel like all the palpitations or anything like that. I have a website. If anybody's interested, just get my card, and my website is in there, my information, and you can find out everything, all the ingredients about the products in there. And there's also a business opportunity with the products. So basically, I have a link that I share with people, and if they order, you make 50% commissions on the products that you sell. So now when you sign up as an affiliate, which is free, by the way, no company out there is letting you use their business opportunity and for free. Like, you don't have to pay website fees, you don't have to pay anything. Everything is free when you sign up. You share your link and you make your commissions. And somebody else signs up under you, you know, it goes like that. So I am a huge, advocate of helping others. So I've been in the business for almost a year, and every single bit of money or penny or dollars or thousands that I've made, I buy food and I buy clothing and I buy medication, and I send barrels to Dominican Republic. I have a sister there that belongs to a church, and every 2 months I send a couple of barrels back with food and everything, and that's what I use. You know, the commissions that I make, I use them to help others because, you know, it's a way of me saying to others that there's help out there, even from the person that you least expected. You know, I can always help. And if you're interested, just grab my card. I have a couple of samples left. I know some of you grabbed some already, but my card is here. Please make sure you take one, because you might need the product. Somebody else that you know might need the product. You might want the side of part of the business, or you might know someone that really is a single mom or a bartender or somebody that really needs the extra income. By all means, they could definitely like make a little bit of money and help out those for themselves. Thank you so much. And now I'm gonna sing because she used to sing bitty bitty bum bum. Thank you. You guys that are watching, it's cake time. I just saw that. I'm like, whoa. It's cake time.
The cake is not vegan. It's for anybody who was concerned. Okay. The cake is not vegan. It is a double stacked, double spoon chocolate cake with strawberries. So at this point, I want to now thank you all so very much for your time and for your patience. And I would like to introduce our closing presenter. Let me grab my, I'm gonna borrow this from you for just a second. So in the program, I always like to have an opportunity for us to be able to have someone guide us to, like, I like to call it our closing meditation. I think it's so important because when we are having these types of events, there is so much information that is given. And when we feel like we have almost maybe overload, it's a really great opportunity to have someone take us through an opportunity to kind of reground, recenter, give thanks to all of the things that we've had the opportunity to share in today, to meet with one another, to share a meal with one another, to talk about who we are and what we're doing, to encourage one another. And when I was looking online, so Olga has been one of our closing meditators, our presenters who provided a closing meditation. Earlier today, we had two other ladies who were here who had been part of the closing meditation process. And then I had a really great recommendation for a woman that I had not met before. And I always love to meet new people. And so I would like to read her bio and get to know her a little bit more. And then I will turn the stage over to her. So Oksana Matioko, intuitive business coach, certified NLP master, Tony Robbins certified strategic interventionist. Her bio. I am Oksana Matioko, an intuitive business coach with multiple successful businesses under my belt. I specialize in healing traumas because it's the fastest way to your true self. Through my coaching, many have already found clarity and mission and learned how to manifest their dreams, discover purpose, personal and spiritual blueprint creation. I'm very passionate to work with spiritual entrepreneurs who have big dreams and want to create a massive impact in this world within their work, unique gifts, and stories. As a licensed psychologist, NLP master, and Tony Robbins certified strategic interventionist and a coach, I have a special and natural ability to see through your limiting beliefs, inner resistance, mental and energetic blocks, and help you to rewire them so that you can experience massive shifts and leaps in all areas of your life, expand your business, create 6 to 7 figure incomes, gain more confidence, have healthy, beautiful, thriving relationships with yourself and with others, She has sold millions of dollars worth of products and services for major corporations, and through her own business, conducted many personal trainings and helped so many transform their lives. I am truly grateful to welcome a woman to the stage that I am very excited to learn and to hear from. Please welcome Oksana Matias. And of course, I serve all the cake, and then I ask you to come over and talk. So.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Where would I sit? This is more about.
Yeah, I can bring you a
share.
Yeah,
I'll
right
just,
you got that one?
so I would like everyone. Is everyone going to participate? Yeah. So I would like everyone to just relax and close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Breathe in joy, gratitude, love, appreciation, heart connection. Breathe out stress, anxiety, doubts, insecurities. Take a deep breath in, all the way to your crown chakra, which is on top of the head, and hold it. And breathe out all the disappointments, all fears, anger. Breathe joy, gratitude, and breathe out all the negativity. Feel like the energy is flowing through your body, starting from your toes, like a ball of energy, transparent, expanding through your body. Run all the way through your feet, ankles, your calves, knees, your thighs, your stomach area, chest, throat, head, and out through your top of your head, and coming back from the top of your head all the way down. Take a deep breath in. Feel like every cell of your body is being activated right now. Cleanse, purify, feel the vitality of your being. Take your right hand and put it on the lower abdominal area. And ask divine, God, the universe, Mother Nature, whatever you do with them, to give you self-realization. Destroy all the negativity within you and around. Give you a sense of direction. Ask for divine knowledge and open your sources of creativity flowing through the body. Let's place our right hand on the top of the abdominal area. Take a deep breath in. Feel the principle of Lakshmi being activated. Receiving abundance, inner balance and evolution. Take a deep breath in. Place your right hand on your heart and feel the power of the heart. Feel all the insecurities, fears, and doubts leaving your body. You are safe to be here. You're more than enough. You're loved. You're protected. Feel the purity. Feel your heart open. There's no need to change anything. You are perfect. Feel your heart opening like a lotus, petal by petal. Feel this energy flowing through your system, activating your talents, all your gifts. All your power. You came to this world to share your gifts. Stop standing on your own way. Everything that you built, let everything you have a guidance every step of the way. Listen, feel, hear. All of you here. You're never alone, ever. Take your right hand, put it on your left shoulder and turn it back to the right side. Say it from your heart, I'm not guilty at all. I release all the guilt, shame, self-criticism, doubts, everything. I let it go. I release it from my body. I want you to connect with your little girl, little you, and tell her how much you love her. Ask her for forgiveness. And tell her how much you are protected now. You're fine. See her in the stress reminding you of you. Carefree. So light, joyful, beautiful. She's just being in this present moment. Running in the sun, collecting flowers. Meet this plane with her here. Sun is kissing her skin. She's running down the hill to the beach. Picking up the canvas and starts brushing, starts painting the brush. She's brushing this golden using all the colors she likes. She's seeing this bird, letting her into her magical land. Everything is possible. Everything she's dreaming about. Her family, or her loved one, beautiful business, empire, because she has big dreams. Everything she can touch, smell, is right there. She's there. You're there. All your struggles and worries in the past, you have all the power now to make a decision, to believe, to embody. And feel the divine presence within you. Nothing can really affect you anymore. Because everything you need is within you. Put your right hand. Take a deep breath in. Say it from your heart. Feel it. I forgive everyone. Everyone who did anything bad against me. There's no need for me to carry this poison and baggage. Let him. And feel the release from your body, from your mind. I'm asking for forgiveness for everything I've done. Please forgive me. Most importantly, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for being so hard on myself every single day. I forgive myself, I love myself. And beautiful. And loving. And caring. I'm so special. There's no one like me, and I go. Feel the energy flow through your body, expanding, renewing your beliefs. Put your right hand on the top of your head and turn your head 7 times clockwise and ask God for your self-realization. Put your right hand above your head and feel it. Could be warm or could be cold. This is your companion. It's your part of you. And do the same with your right hand. Now you can open your eyes. It was amazing in terms of an energy flow here. Like, I'm done. How are you ladies feeling?
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I have cake for you, ladies. Thank you so very much for that. What I have experienced in the past is that because we put so much energy into our programs, that when we are getting close to the conclusion of our program, that it's a lot of really awesome, amazing energy. It's you know, we are pumped up. We've got all this inspiration. We've been meeting these phenomenal ladies, and I just feel that like when we have that opportunity to bring it back down, it just feels like that's the type of ending or closure that I think really sort of solidifies the experience. You're welcome. No pressure. pressure to eat the whole cake, but you know, I like to go big or go home, right? So I just want to thank all of you so much for this moment together to talk about our businesses, to talk about the anthology, to share a meal with your sisters, which is not something that I do very often, and to get out, you know, from behind our safe spaces. As we are, I am so truly grateful to, you know, being able to have a Zoom world interact with being in person, because for so long, you know, I mean, I worked via Zoom as a project manager for the University of California for years. So for me to do Zoom, it was like what I would do every day, but I have a different comfort level with Zoom. And when we started meeting out in person again, it took a while for me to be more energetic and to be less, you know, in my seat. I was having like stuttering experiences. I was, you know, had this massive anxiety over leaving my house. And when I have these quarterly power luncheons, it's, you know, in a way it's for me to get out of my house. And so I just really want to thank all of you amazing ladies who got out of your house today and sat with us for 4 hours via Zoom, from all around the world, because I think that when we come together, this is when we find that new inspiration again. We find those new reasons to do something new, to you know, to meet with new business owners and discover what other people are doing. You know, as entrepreneurs and as a business owner, one of the things that I like to always do, I love Facebook groups. I am all over the place because it's my way to connect with other people. I grew up, you know, as an only child in a very small farming town, and I was always the odd duck. And, you know, I never felt like I fit into my space that I was raised within. And when I started finding online communities is where I really found my sisters. Then starting the Latina Entrepreneurs Unidas Facebook group, because like I wanted to see more brown women in the room. I wanted to connect with women who I had shared cultural backgrounds with. You know, I wanted to laugh at hepa jokes. I wanted to, you know, have those moments talking about chingona this and chingona that, and you know, interact with my sisters who also had that sort of a culture. I grew up in a very heavy, gang-ridden, drug, violent environment. And the way that I think about that now is I don't focus on all of the bad things. I focus on some of the great times we had. The fact that my best friend taught me how to drive when I was 14 years old in this giant orange van, how we used to play pool and dominoes. And those are the things that I reach back and I remember. And I listen to lowrider oldies all the time. You know, last night I was listening to Peaches and Herb while I was like drinking wine and chopping fruit. Yeah, you know, and it just, when I started to really define the community that I wanted to be surrounded with, then I started to find the community that I really wanted to be surrounded with. And when I started getting more so out of my shell, then I didn't feel so weird anymore. I didn't feel like, you know, I was the odd duck anymore, because I was connecting with awesome women such as yourselves and the women of the Facebook groups that I've been joining and sharing in, meeting Joe, meeting Virginia. I love her, a nice conversation that we've had several times. You know, I chatted up with Joe all the time. I'm coming to Boston. And it's a great opportunity. So if there's something that you really take away from today is, yes, the Boss Latinas anthology was a lot of work, and yes, it was totally worth it, and I would totally do it again. Yes, I think the biggest thing that we get out of these collaborations is the gift of collaboration, is meeting new people. So for our closing today, you know, I could stand up here and thank you over and over and over again, because I would. But I want to make sure that I continue to ramble on. Where's my, this again here, I'm gonna borrow this.
While she's working on the next step, we also want to say thank you. Thank you for having this idea. Thank you for taking your own feelings and deciding to manifest it into something that is greater than you, that is greater than us, that is a model to our children. And, you know, it's so obvious that all of us are cut from very similar cloth. And it's a bit devastating to believe that we spent so much of our childhood not realizing how much we had in common, right? It's painful, but at the same time, we are all coming together at a very special time in history and bringing something together. And I wouldn't have known anybody else in this room had it not been for you. And our first meeting sounds like it's very, very often like a lot of meetings in this room where it's connecting, like genuinely wanting to know where someone else has been and where they're going and how we can manifest that. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for also taking the plunge and talking to her and talking to Vihil and just allowing that connection to happen. Because that's what I did. I can remember the first time we talked, I was on my cell phone in front of the liquor store over in my neighborhood. Like I was just walking over and all of a sudden we were in a 45-minute conversation that was supposed to be like 15 minutes. So, but it also, right now, our connection is you. And so I just want to take a moment, everybody, a nice round of applause because you have been working your buns off. You have been very determined. And here we are at the fruition of yet another of the projects that you put your mind to. So thank you so very much for everything.
Thanks, buddy.
Are you all bashful now?
totally thrown off of my track. I got a job to do here. Focus. Thank you so much. The beneficiary of all of the programs that we do here is the Young Women Entrepreneur Education Foundation. So with Magistra Magazine and as we continue to grow, so I'm going to say when we are global, as we continue to become globally known, the goal of Magistra Magazine is yes to tell the stories of amazing women that come into my world that I get to meet, but it's also to start a foundation. So the Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation is designed so that a piece of every event that I do, a piece of every book that I sell, of every coaching program I do, of everything that I do, a piece of that goes into a fund that is currently not a nonprofit, but will soon be a nonprofit when I'm able to do that. So that when we have this, so I've been talking about this empowerment gala that I've been wanting to do for like 4 years, where it brings together statewide organizations and maybe even non-statewide organizations, just organizations in general, who support the advancement of women and children. So to bring together organizations that would like to participate, to recognize the volunteers of those organizations, because so many of organizations that are trying to raise awareness and funding for the advancement of women and children are typically nonprofits and typically have a ton of volunteers. So the Empowerment Gala is designed to bring together all of these organizations that raise money and awareness for the betterment of women and children and bring them together so that we can have this organization recognizing all of their volunteers, this organization recognizing all of their volunteers. And then once all the volunteers get recognized, the Empowerment Empire supplies awards, scholarships. So the goal is to get to the point where we can offer $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000 in scholarships to 5 to 10 women, because it takes cash to pay for a coach. It takes cash to pay for your website, for publications, for business cards, for a woman who wants to get her business started, but she doesn't really know how. So she needs to do the things that we need to do to start a business, to pay for licenses and et cetera, et cetera. So a portion of all of the programs that the Empowerment Empire does is to benefit the Young Women Entrepreneur Education Foundation. So I'll just read. The Magistra Magazine Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation offers annual scholarships to aid in funding educational programs, business startup costs, licensing fees, and more to prepare women for their entrepreneurial ventures and to help get them started. All donations and a portion of all revenue from this event is donated to that fund in preparation for the awarding of the annual scholarships. You go to Magistra, magistra.us /education foundation. You can find more information about that. I will also be sending all of you a wonderful thank you email for coming with a link to learn more, because I am looking to partner with organizations to bring that Empowerment Gala to life. So when that Empowerment Gala happens, we will publicly be awarding these scholarships. Since for the past 3 years that Empowerment Gala has not happened, due to global pandemics, due to, you know, me moving across the state and various other reasons, the way that we have been supplying opportunities is by sponsoring other programs, is by allowing people to, you know, inviting people to attend the event at a scholarship. By, you know, me finding out there's a woman who needs to get her business going and she just can't do it, so I give her 5 free hours of coaching. So, or I buy her business cards. So we are still able to help the woman entrepreneur, but not on the scale that I want to really have it done. So imagine if we can all bring together a list of phenomenal organizations who might be interested in coming together to recognize their volunteers and to help provide massive scholarship for women wanting to build a business, how powerful that would be. So that is our goal of every event and every program that the Empowerment Empire does, is to be able to provide those annual scholarships and empowerment galas, because Lord knows I love me a fancy time. And, you know, I love my dresses and my fancy shoes, and I like my bouginess. And I'm not afraid to say so. And I'm not afraid to work for having my bouginess. So let's throw a big bougie party and recognize volunteers. With that, I want to close, and we our space, our time here is up. So anyone who would like to stick around for a little while and have some cake, and I made some fresh coffee. Sorry, Joe, I'll send you some locally owned woman bakery gift cards, so that you and Virginia, and who else is still alive with us? I think it's you and Virginia, right? Yep. So that the two of you, because you stayed all the way through, I'm gonna send you cake and coffee. And I think she's in Maryland and you're in Boston, so I'll send you cake and coffee. I love you. Thank you for doing all of this, all the things that you do. And Jo is, if you haven't noticed, she kind of signs during some of her conversations. So Jo is trilingual, right? American Sign Language, she speaks Spanish, and we speak English. Anything else? More amazingness? Yeah. So thank you, Jo, for all of your hard work.
Well, if we're gonna toot, I did karaoke 2 of the songs during the break, and I don't know if anybody
you were singing. I thought you were singing. So final 2 things: the book and the next issue of Magistra Magazine. So I just got a message from Denise Gross. She's ready to send her final chapter again. So we had one more author that I wasn't able to get to respond to me, and she just sent me a text a few moments ago saying that she wasn't included, and so I will include her. So because we've gone through the whole process, but I can probably slip a chapter in. So the goal is to have the printed book in your mailboxes by the end of this month. The next issue of Magistra Magazine, the summer issue, is going to be coming out in August, where we'll recap this. And if there's anything that you've got going on for the latter part of the summer, let me know. I would love to feature you in the magazine and just share more about your organization and your businesses. So with that, thank you for all coming and supporting all of our efforts here. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And with that, we shall close. So I'm going to, do you want to close the Zoom and we'll throw some tunes on, or you can leave the Zoom open and throw some tunes on while we clean up?
Well, absolutely. I just want to say thank you. I'm happy to throw some tunes on if that to have the vibe. I just want to thank everybody for all your amazing cooperation. My name is Joe Welch, and I look forward to getting to connect with each and every one of you on Zoom, because that's the closest to in person we're going to have. So thank you. And Virginia, thank you so much for sticking it out on Zoom with me. And I think that this worked out very nicely to do a little bit of a hybrid and be able to be celebrating with you guys today. So great to meet you all, and I'll find a good station that has a little more cumbia in it, I think, or reggaeton or something, right?
Gracias.
All right. You are free to go and free to stay and mingle and have cake.